First of all, I would like to use my respect to the teachers. My name is Subin, the student who study in group Today I'm presentation about the chapter 5 after reading the title say about summative-based formative assessment. I would like to draw about or say about the concept made of a summative-based to make easy understanding about the whole summary that I will say the next time. So summative-based formative assessment concept made divide into three parts like type of summative-based formative assessment, like after type like pre-assessment, homework, set work, quiz, and test, common benchmarks, yes and digital toy. After do all assessment, we need to do feedback to the student. So in the feedback, there have a type of feedback, mode of deliver, how to feedback to the student, anticipate timing to give the feedback to the student, and after feedback student respond. So we have type of assessment, so we have need to feedback to the student. The next step in concept made of summative based formative assessment is called instructional assessment. So in instructional assessment, they have mastery learning, response to intervention, differential instruction, learning progressive, and recursive model. So let's go to the type of summative based formative. So we talk about pre-assessment. What is pre-assessment? Why we do pre-assessment in summative based formative assessment? Pre-assessment is giving period to instruction students before they study and learn. It is set up in advance and invested as planned with some amount of time between the gathering of data and interpretation that allow teacher to reflect on the result and determine the next more appropriate instructional activity. So pre-assessment, meaning pre-assessment are so important for several results. First, they help teacher identify where is learning progressive instruction should be focused, avoiding redundancy and moving student ahead. So it's meaning that if after teacher do pre-assessment to the student and get the result from the student, they know how to change their method of teaching, or they know about avoiding redundancy and moving student ahead. And second of important we need to do pre-assessment is pre-assessment can help teacher determine the appropriate level of challenges and difficulties students need to motivate them, making instruction more intrinsically interesting, relevant, and engaging. Also, it means that after we do pre-assessment, we know the student need help, so we can help them on time. Thirdly, teachers need to do pre-assessment because pre-assessment can help students understand learning target and the sequential process of learning that is needed. We will consider two types of pre-assessment like structured exercise and pre-test, as well as two other plain types of formative assessment that are used following instruction like homework and set work. Let's go to talk about the two types of pre-assessment like structured exercise and pre-test. What is structured exercise? Structured exercise is a good approach to evaluation current student knowledge and skill to design structured exercise that will provide teachers with an opportunity to observe students in the context of specific performance situation. One approach is to design an activity for a student. It could be written assessment, an oral presentation, or group work. For example, asking students to write about their summer vacation in class. So it means that make the student writing in time, yes, in class can help to identify language and skill. And the next one we can do like interview the student. So it's called structure exercise also, and digital game also called structure exercise. So digital game can be used to observe student math skill. And also, like, common technique is to ask students to write information about themselves on card, such as name of family member, hobby and interesting, and so on, something like that. And the type of a pre-assessment is pre-test. What is pre-test? Pre-test is becoming more common for teachers to administer a formal pre-test of the content that will subsequently to be covered. The pre-test would supposedly indicate what students know and don't know, or what they can or they cannot do. So, if a pre-test other than common test, pre-test is so common test for pre-assessment the student. So if a pre-test other than common test is to be used successfully, it needs to be short and target to specific knowledge and skill. Students need to be motivated to their best work, and you need to make clear to students that the purpose of the test is to help them learn more and help you plan more effective instruction. The result may suggest the need for further diagnostic assessment, especially if students do very well. It means that when students can do pre-test very well, we can consume that the student is understand the whole story and the student fit our objective in the chapter when the teacher first teaching them, and what teacher want to get the result from the student. So it means the teacher success for teaching them in the lesson, because after pre-test the ability or the knowledgement of the student match with objective with the lesson. So we go to the homework. The homework say in type of summative based formative assessment also. Homework. Why do we need to have homework as summative based formative assessment? Because the primary purpose of homework for most teachers is to provide extra practice in applying knowledge and skill. Homework is also used to expand and elaborate student learning. Also, when we have homework, students can review themselves the lesson before they get the class. Students can study the lesson and can reflect the knowledge from the lesson that they learned the last time to make them can do the homework that the teacher give them on. So there are no limitation with homeworks. Most importantly, an event and unknown important assistance from parents, siblings, and friends. Because of this, homework that provide good diagnostic information should require students to complete in their own writing. Yes. So we put the student to a homework to the student, so we can make them writing in their own. So a teacher know about the own writing of a student, right? Yes, something like that. In the writing, like answer to contract response question and assignment that show where appropriate work that lead to the answer. Example with math problem. By reviewing student work in a small step, you will be able to provide greater specificity in feedback you give, as well as with the instructional corrective to help students. So about the type of summative based assessment, we go to, after we talk about pre-assessment homework already, so we go to the next, say about set work. What is set work? Set works mean with variety of in the class student summative test, teacher can be able to obtain feedback about student learning from multiple perspectives. With set work and other individualist activity, teacher can circulate, monitor student performance, and provide immediate specific feedback as students were to complete a test or question. After digital game and app are used to engage the Thai student. Set work can be used to provide formative information as long as there is close monitoring, frequent feedback, and opportunity for students to self-assessment also, according to robust and criteria that has been provided. Many apps provide immediately feedbacks to the student. So after I say about 3 points already in task or summative based formative assessment, so I would like to make a short brief about advantage and disadvantage of using pre-assessment homework and set work for formative purpose. So structure exercise, they have advantage like comfortable, less test oriented with less accompanying stress. But they also have disadvantage. This disadvantage of structure exercise is does not provide a common standard result of finding more approach to being incomplete. For about pre-test, they have advantage like provide a standard baseline for students, provide a starting point for more specific diagnostic assessment, provide results teachers can analyze it. And for about their disadvantage, if for more test structure can be intimidating. Students may react negatively if they do poorly, may or may not discriminate well for high achieving students. For in homework, formative purpose, they have advantage like relative low stakes, can be individualist, useful for deductive comment, misconception, trigger, or error. For about their disadvantage, like not always the result of student work, difficulty knowing what to do with student, what do not complete the work. And the last one like set work they have advantage like digital version engage student and provide immediately feedback. Tests can be individually, teachers can monitor and respond to individual questions, but they also have disadvantage. So disadvantage to do set work like not systematic and prone to error, rely on students to be motivated, easy for students to be off test, technical difficult with app and digital game. So it means that some students did not go at digital, so it so take risk for the student who law knowledge of digital to do set work. Let's go to the 4 points of Thai summative based formative assessment like quiz and test. Quiz and test is not far from about pre-assessment. So because even though quiz and test chapter tests are summative, do document with student, no teacher obtain, do or should use quiz and unit test formatively. From a formative standpoint, the quiz is a structured procedure to check on student learning of specific skill, standard and related specific learning target that is part of more general goal for mature unit of instruction. To say that like we know that in 21st centuries nowadays there's so much technology, so the student can be need to be know to use digital toy, because this is digital toy in this century so useful for do other like not only a quiz, but there are also have many form and there are also has many connection to other programs. So digital toy is so important in this century. Like we say, it is the AI century also. And digital toy for formative assessment is now ubiquitous and quickly replacing physical classroom response system that use sticky note, exciting stick or clicker. Digital toy involving free online seat, laptop, iPad, iPhone, tablet, and all the device allow students to record response electronically. The toy allows students to complete a test with an egg game and prompt. So the student need to learn more about how to use digital toy. Let's go to common assessment. Common assessment is a part common assessment if a new types or summative-based formative assessment has developed. So common assessment are prepared collaboration by a team of teacher or other to measure student progress towards their standard-based learning target and goal. Usually a few weeks of learning is assessed similar in some way to benchmark tests because the tests are the same for all students and teachers. There are great opportunity for the teacher to review and discuss results and suggest instructional adjustment. Let's go to the next point, say about year-end large-scale assessment. So year-end large-scale assessment is also a part of summative-based formative assessment. In Cambodia, we can say prolonged chomia for primary school, but for grade 9 and grade 12 we can say prolonged diploma and prolonged baduk. Yes, it's a year-end large-scale assessment also. Since using assessment to improve student learning is all the rank, it's not surprising that company instead they develop tests intent for while usage for assessing proficiency on end of year standard have pivot to formative assessment. Interim assessment may be purchased to check student progress toward proficiency on the standard assessed at the end of the year. Also, many states develop their own year-end large-scale accountability tests, and most hope the results from the test will be used formatively. The issue is that the promise of using a large-scale test result formatively does not match well with the reality of how those tests are designed and the level of digital provide. They can be used either for feedback or instructional adjustment. Typically, those tests have certified to 50 items to measure learning that has occurred over an entire school year. Yes, in Khmer we can say ប្រឡងឆមាស ឬក៏ប្រឡងពាក់កណ្ដាលឆមាស but this focus on ប្រឡងឆមាស یاប្រឡងបញ្ចប់ឆ្នាំ is something like that. Consequently, large-scale formative assessment, at least those administered at the end of the school year, are not effective summative-based formative assessment. So after we do all the assessment like pre-test, homework, segment, quiz, benchmark, and test, digital toy, we have to do the feedback to the student. There are the part 2 in summative-based formative assessment. After we do all assessment, we need to do feedback to the student. So some future application of principle of feedback for formative assessment is needed. But before venturing into that information, allows me to tell you another short story about like the test about the do assessment in summative-based formative assessment. So all the teacher need to collect the data, need to collect the result from the student, and after they collect it, they need do the feedback we consider to all the students. So last but not least, to be used formatively, result from summative assessment must include feedback that is actionable. With an objective test, students know question, they answer correctly and incorrectly. But additionally, feedback is needed. Yes, it really need, because to make the student which point they're correct and which point they're not correct, they need to improve on some point. Yes, something like that. There need to be future information that can help the student understand why an answer is incorrect, why there has been a misunderstanding or misconception. For example, after a student give a spec, you will provide feedback to make them what the point is wrong, what the point is right. So after they know which point they're wrong and which point they're not understand enough, they need to try more to understand about that point. They cannot do and get police score in class or in a test also. So in formative based formative assessment feedback type and mode of delivery. There are some part of feedback type like verification, elaboration, target reference, scaffold, set reference, standard reference, amount, timing, mood, audit, type of task, different tool also, and something like that. So feedback is so important to make the student realize their mistake. So we need to have performance, result, feedback, and student response. So it's feedback and student response. Yes, it's a type of something like that. Last but not least, we go to the last point of summative based formative assessment is called instructional adjustment. So I would like to list down about the type of instructional adjustment. How many of type of instructional adjustment? So there have like tutor reading. Yes, tutor reading is also instructional adjustment. Example like read an additional article on the nature of free enterprise. And second one, individual tutoring. Third one is small group work, modeling, whole class oral question, re-explanation, worksheet paper, or digital toy to do a pre-test or pre-assessment. Yeah. Clarifying criteria, changing sequence, online exploration, concept mapping, new digital toy. For new digital toy example, like provide students with a new digital toy they can retake and use question to check for student proficiency, for student grade, and for the student knowledge level of student. We go to the last point, the last part in this video. So I can make the summary or the point that I mentioned below, that I mentioned about. Like, so I would like to summary this chapter focus on summative based formative assessment. So there also have many key points in the chapter, including like pre-assessment. So pre-assessment, like pre-test and instructional exercise mean as well as homework and set work are used to determine what students know and can do period 2 in instructional unit. It is important that pre-test, especially those covering considerable learning outcome, do not create a negative class environment or low expectation. And for the second part in summary, like pre-test should be short and should not interface with establishing a positive classroom classmate. And for the next point is about instructional adjustment through the use of mystery learning, response to intervention, learning progression, and differential instruction. Provide student specific activity different from the original instruction to aid them in closing their knowledge gap and achieving the learning target. Homework in class also is the criteria in some summative based formative assessment also. So homework in class assessment and quiz can be used effectively for formative assessment as long as they are sufficiently specific, target, and diagnostic. What are the do and done for effective use of homework in class assessment and quiz to be effective formative assessment? So it means that summative based formative assessment is kind of the method to do assessment for the student. Yeah, like they have so the teacher need to think about this method to do their student assessment to assessment the student knowledge in class, that they are follow the objective that student the aptitude that student need. And we need to understand more about summative based formative assessment to do efficiency in class or after do the year end assessment also. So this is all for my presentation, and thank you teacher so much for watching my video. I hope there are so many mistakes in this video. If is something error, teachers can give advice and can give feedback to me, and I'm so happy and I'm looking forward to correct it, yeah, to create it better. So thank you teacher.